Whew. Okay, well, now that I'm not dying, I guess I can finally do a review on a movie that I saw right before the death started happening to me. Now I know what you're all wondering. What movie did I happen to see? Well, you can read, can't you? It's in the title. I saw The Disaster Artist! Whoa! That movie that was supposed to be here in town like a freaking month ago and only showed up like 2 weeks ago? Like right whenever the death started happening to me? Yeah, I saw that movie and I've got some thoughts on it. Thoughts that I'm going to share with you people. Especially because Kaden Kirby kept on coming to my door, knocking on it and asking me, are you going to do a review on The Disaster Artist yet? Are you going to do it yet? Are you going to do it yet? Are you going to do a review on The Disaster Artist yet? How about now? And I was like, no, Kaden, not right now. I'm dying at the current moment. And he's like, well, I don't care. You know, YouTube's a lifestyle. You either suffer it for the art or you don't do it at all. And I was like, well, that's a pretty good point, but like I literally can't do it. I'm dying. He's like, I don't care. You got to do the review for the movie. You got to do it now for me. And so here I am now. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing this for you, Kaden. This is for you. The Disaster Artist was directed by James Franco and stars him as Tommy Wiseau, the elusive man behind The Room. One of the greatest, worst movies ever made. It was an amazing experience. Got to go see it. Yeah. The film is about how Tommy Wiseau met Greg Sestros, who in the film is portrayed by younger brother Dave Franco, and how the two of them meet and keep pushing each other towards their dreams to make it big in Hollywood. And it's also about the making of The Room. Somewhere in there. Now this movie actually surprised me. It doesn't go down the whole talking route where you're thinking, oh, The Room is already bad enough, so let's continue to use this entire joke to kind of push the movie forward. They don't go that route. They kind of go around it respectfully and kind of brings the movie into a more inspiring direction. The first half of the film... oh gosh, some of the death is still on me. The first half of the movie is how Tommy and Greg first meet and how the two of them just continue to push each other to live their dreams. I just had a huge smile on my face during the entirety of this first half of the film. It's very inspiring and actually kind of touching, or at least a lot more so than I would expect from a movie that is essentially about the making of one of the worst films in history. They try to get hired by different acting agencies, they both fail at auditions and get turned down by directors and casting agents and such, but they always keep coming back to each other and they're like, hey, this is our dream and we made a promise to ourselves to live out this dream and we're gonna do it one way or another. So of course, after being turned down so many times, the two of them just decide that, hey, let's just make our own movie if no one else wants us. And of course, that leads us into the second half of this movie, which is essentially the making of The Room, which is pretty interesting and eye-opening in my opinion. But I do have a couple little gripes with this half of the film, so I will address those first. It does kind of feel like in this half there are several important characters in The Room that are introduced in this half, the actors and actresses behind those characters, and they show up once, really. They have one scene that kind of builds them as a character or shows that they have some kind of conflict with Tommy as the director. But then after that scene kind of plays out, they just kind of get swept away and then forgotten about. I get the movie is primarily about Tommy and Greg, but I do feel like it would have been interesting to see the reactions of all the other cast members as they're trying to deal with all the antics that are happening on set, because as the movie progresses, we do see Tommy and Greg begin to slowly lose it while making this movie, but we never really get that reaction from any of the other characters. We kind of get like hints and little tiny snippets of that from the other characters, but we don't actually get to see it happen in full. We're just shown like a little tiny glimpse of it, and then the characters are just kind of forgotten and dropped, and we don't see them until the very, very end of the film. And the ending does feel a bit rushed. They set up this completely emotional scene and everything, and it was very heartfelt, and you feel really bad for Tommy in this scene. And there's some genuine emotion going on. But then I feel like the movie is kind of like, okay, we gotta wrap this up like real quick. Just have everything turn out okay in the end, and there we go, roll credits, and then it's kind of over. And we don't really get to see any of that emotion really like play out or anything. We get to see it just start up, but then it's kind of brushed away for the happy ending. Ooh, everything's A-okay, The Room's such a big hit. Woo, hooray! for that, I guess. And so that's my biggest gripe with the movie, really, is that we see little snippets and ideas of things that are kind of planted, but we don't really get to see those ideas grow and kind of evolve and move the plot along or anything. And I get, like, the movie is an hour and 44 minutes, which is relatively short for a film. And so it does have to move things along pretty quickly, but I just kind of wish that we could have had that ending just a little bit more developed, so that way we could really, like, get that punch in the heart, you know, and be like, oh man, this really sucks, you know, like, they've been building up and everything, trying to stay positive in light of, like, everything that they've faced, and it's all just crashing down because this movie is utter garbage. But we don't really get that. Instead, they just like, oh, yay, happy ending. And I don't know, that just kind of bummed me out a little bit. But those are really my only gripes about the film. Everything else I either liked or I really, really enjoyed. The performances were great, especially Zac Efron, who for the 3 minutes of the film that he is in just absolutely steals the scene. He is totally a standout in the film. Absolutely amazing performance in there. It's just wonderful. He is amazing in this movie. Both James and Dave Franco do such a great job portraying Tommy and Greg. They work so well with each other, and they make the friendship feel even more real between the two and more inspiring. This film definitely presents The Room in a different light for me, and it's really interesting because after watching this movie, there are scenes in the film where they show right before they film all these really iconic moments, like the sex scenes and everything like that. Like, everyone was just upset with each other, and they're all, like, bickering and everything. Nothing is going right for this movie, and so everyone's just really upset, and it's really interesting because I kind of want to go back and rewatch The Room and see if, like, any of that anger or negative energy towards each other kind of translates into those scenes that we see in the final product of the film. The movie was an absolute blast overall. It was a fun, touching little ride. No, that sounds gross and creepy. I don't think it was as good as I wanted it to be back in the Depression vlog. Link to that in the little annotation card thingy in this corner or whatever. But it's still a good movie that's definitely worth the buy on Blu-ray. Definitely eye-opening and very, very enjoyable, especially if you are a fan of The Room. I'd say you don't need to see The Room in order to, like, get this movie or anything, but I think watching the original film definitely enhances the experience. I give The Disaster Artist an 8 out of 10, or a B, or a whatever numerical rating thing that you go by. 4 stars? 4 out of 5 stars? I don't know. Whatever. That's my rating right there. So there we go, Kaden. You can stop knocking on my door now because I finally reviewed The Room. Are you happy now? Good. Yay. Glad you are. Awesome. Remember, buddy, this one's for you. So, The Disaster Artist. Have you guys had a chance to catch this one in theaters? If you have, let me know in the comments down below what you thought about the movie. And until next time, you can click a like, comment, subscribe. I think that's about all that you can do. Maybe share the video, get me more popular. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Okay, bye!